You're about to listen to the Weekly Business Hour podcast. I am Rick Schissler, Silver Fox Advisor, your host for the show. The show is broadcast live each Monday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on irlonestar.com. You can reach me on my Facebook page, The Weekly Business Hour, or by email at rick@irlonestar.com. The Weekly Business Hour is sponsored by Patricia Cooper Insurance Agency, Taylorized PR, Schooley Mitchell with Jerry Polio, and the Silver Fox Advisors. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the program.
Good morning, and welcome to the Lone Star Weekly Business Hour. Your host, Rick Schissler, is a Silver Fox Advisor who personally has over 40 years of experience as a serial entrepreneur. So sit back, pull out your pad and pencil, and get ready to take notes as we join Rick Schissler in his Lone Star Weekly Business Hour.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of the Weekly Business Hour. This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox Advisor and the host of the Weekly Business Hour. I want to take a second and talk about the Silver Foxes. Over the holidays, I had several people approach me at gatherings, business meetings, and say, what is a Silver Fox Advisor? Well, Silver Fox Advisors, which I'm one, are a group, association, if you will, of men and women who have come together after finishing their main career track, who have a lot of knowledge, information, experience that they've been able to pick up over the years. Doesn't necessarily mean we're just a bunch of old people, though. But the common thread is that we all either, like myself, owned our own business, in my case, multiple businesses, or that if we worked in the larger business or the large corporations, we ran subsidiaries or, in fact, in a couple of cases, large corporations and had P&L, profit and loss responsibility. And we try to take all that knowledge that we gathered, in my case, almost 40 years, and turn around and offer it through our mentoring and advising of clients. So if you have a business or yourself think that it might benefit from a mentor, and if you listen to the show on a regular basis, you've heard a number of our guests talk about how important a mentor was in the success of their business. If you think you might want to talk about a mentor, then please reach out to me at rick@irlonestar.com, or you can go to the Silver Fox Advisor webpage at www.silverfoxadvisors.com. They are our show sponsor, so I want to let you know that and let you know what a Silver Fox Advisor is. Well, if you're a business owner, manager, or you are considering now starting your own business, then you're in the right place, because the Weekly Business Hour is where Montgomery County comes to talk about the latest in business news, ideas to improve your business, and to hear from some of our own local business leaders on how they found success right here in the Montgomery County area. If you're ready to do business this week, then let's get started with today's show. Hope everyone enjoyed a good holiday with friends and family. It was a little bit rainy in our area and a little chilly. Not anything like they had up north with all that snow that we could see on TV. And boy, as a number of people related to me, I'm glad I live in Texas, except in the Panhandle, I would say, in Dallas, where they really had some severe weather. But I'm glad to be here in Montgomery County, glad to be with you today. But one of the things I wanted to touch on to start off today's show is, every one of us most likely, we had a good holiday season one way or another with family, friends, time to ourselves, hunting, fishing, hopefully safe travel. But the question is, how'd your business fare? How well prepared is your business for the holidays? Because the holidays really do change the dynamic of any business. Whether your business does a lot of its sales, such as in retail, where you can do 30-40% of your business during what they call the holiday season, or you're just in a standard service or product business. Holidays impact your business. And I wanted to mention several things that if you haven't thought about them, that you do put them out there in front of you today, because as you enter towards the Christmas season and the first of the new year, they'll become even more important. So my first question is, how prepared is your business for employees taking time off? People want to take time off during the holidays. It's natural. They want to be with family and friends. A lot of vacation time is utilized during the holidays. Are you prepared to substitute or back those people up when they're off? Is your business going to function as well as it does when they're there? Do you have this well thought out, or you just have a time off chart like we used to have in a business I had? Everybody put up on the chart when they wanted to take off. And unfortunately, as we approached the holiday season, there was a mad scramble. And everybody wanted time off. Of course, the business couldn't operate if nobody was home, so to speak. So be sure that you've carefully considered and look at who's going to be off, when they're going to be off. Make sure you're fully staffed. The second thing is, think about your customers or clients. Are they going to be available? When they're going to be available? And it's an interesting thing that happens during the holidays, at least in my experience in a number of businesses that I was in, is customers and clients pop up and they need something now. I've got to have it right now. I've got an emergency. Or more likely, hey, I forgot to place my order, and can you get it to me now? Well, if you didn't pay heed to the first thing I brought up and have enough employees, you may have trouble getting that order out, or you may have trouble servicing that client. So be aware that your customers and clients' schedules are going to be a little bit different. They're going to be under stress and strain, particularly if they are a retail business or a business that really sees its sales skyrocket during the holidays. So be ready to serve those people, particularly in their time of need. And the third thing, and many people don't think about this, and that's your vendor schedules. What kind of hours are your vendors going to keep during the holiday period, particularly as we get close to Christmas time? More and more I've noticed that vendors tend to close, particularly those that run manufacturing operations, close during the week between Christmas and New Year's. I don't know if this is a trend, but I know that these kind of operations, and this year Christmas and New Year's are in the middle of the week, so to speak, and that's going to create a funny situation as far as when people are open and closed. Obviously, why is it important that we know what our vendor schedules are? Because if you have to order something at the last minute, or say you have a pending large order that's coming in, and your inventory is a little bit short, and you need that product to maintain your business. Again, whether you're manufacturing, your service business, you need those parts to take care of your customers. If you haven't thought out in advance about what your vendor schedules might be, it might be a good thing to do now. Reach out to those vendors. Go to their websites. Send out an email. Make a phone call to your key vendors and make sure what their availability is going to be during the holidays. So that's enough about the holiday. Thanksgiving was the warm-up. Christmas and New Year's are on their way. So let's get ready, and before we move into the main part of our show today, let's check in with Dick here at Lone Star and see what's on tap for Lone Star this coming week.
I want to let your listeners know if they're interested in being on a live radio show on stage at the Owen Theater in downtown Conroe. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour is going to be having auditions for It's a Wonderful Life. It's going to be on this Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the Owen Theater. It's a very simple audition process. Scripts will be provided. This is an old-style radio play where sound effects are performed live on stage along with the voice actors. Rehearsals will be from December 7th to the 12th at the Owen Theater, and the live performance will be at their normal time on Sundays at 7 p.m. on December 13th. Another thing I want to update your listeners about, we have the second annual Cadence Hope Telethon happening December 8th, featuring local live musicians in the studio who will be hosting and talking about Cadence Hope helping NICU families and babies, featuring artists like Maddie Dean, Michael Player, Undercover, Jared Starrett, and of course Kenna Danielle. And more information can be found on Cadence Hope website and also on Facebook. Just look up Cadence Hope.
Well, thank you, Dick. Lone Star, as always, is busy. Lots of events, lots of things going on. Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to start with a little bit of news. Hopefully you can use things going on around Montgomery County and around our state that I think have an indirect or direct impact on your business potentially. It's important that we stay in touch with the news, I believe. Also, and today we've got a really great studio guest, Matt Umholtz is with us of PaySphere. And Matt's going to talk to us about the changes really that have taken place in the payroll and HR administration business and the important role that technology. I think this is very interesting, very important for all of us that do a payroll. And then we're going to finish up today's show and talk about entrepreneurship. I was doing some reading recently. Entrepreneurship, thousands and thousands of articles, probably thousands of books, lots written. But one of the things that's very interesting, when we develop our exit strategy, which as a Silver Fox advisor, I believe before you open your business, you should decide or think through your exit strategy. In other words, where do I want to take this business? How do I want to end it? And one of the things that I've come across lately is that the idea of passing your business on through the family. I grew up in a family business. We made it to the fourth generation. It's a very difficult process. But did you know that in Europe there are businesses that have been passed along for generations? And in one case, I read about a business that was started in the 10th century and is still in the same family. So there's been some study and research done about the ideas of what you can do to build and pass on a business successfully to the next generation. So I'd like to share that with you in case as you build your business, you have family that becomes interested and your exit strategy is to pass the business on to your family. But let's first start out with a little bit of news. First, politics. Politics are part of business. Some people laugh at that. But, who we elect as our leaders, both on a local, county, state, and national basis, obviously has an impact on our business. And I wanted everyone to be aware that we've got a primary coming up in March. And in this case, I got information that was published this past weekend by the Conroe Courier on Saturday that says that kind of updated us on the Republican candidates. It appears that all of Montgomery County state representatives and the one state senator who are up for re-election will be running. That includes Representative Will Metcalf, Mark Keogh, Cecil Bell, along with Senator Brandon Creighton. All these folks are up for re-election, and they have filed to run again. As of 5 p.m. Friday, no one has filed to challenge any of them. So they may end up, because there's still a couple of weeks left before filing deadline, they may end up running unopposed. It's interesting that these positions go unopposed because these are really important positions. No slight on any of these gentlemen. They appear to do a good job for our county, and that may be one of the reasons. They're doing solid work for us, so nobody seems to feel there's a need for change. But be aware that primary is coming up. Also, if you go to the Republican Party of Texas website, you'll see the U.S. Representative Congressman Kevin Brady is filed. You may know that Kevin was just recently elevated to be chair of the Ways and Means Committee, probably one of the most, if not the most important committee in the Congress. So he's in an important position, and he will be running to be reelected in his position. Also, in this case, Kevin has attracted some opposition. Very interesting. Craig McMichael, Andrea Dean, and Steve Toth have all said that they're going to run. Nothing on the Republican Party website yet, but it looks like we might have a little competition, and that would be an interesting battle to watch for all of us. Also, both county commissioners up for re-election, Mike Metter and James Nowak, are running for their positions as well. So keep an eye on the politics of the county, the local, and also the state and national. They do impact our business, and I encourage you to be involved. Let's turn to real estate. Brand new shopping center being built on the north side of Conroe, 9,993 square foot center on location 1240 North Loop, 336 West. This is right near the Kroger grocery store there. It's important to us if you're looking for a new location, obviously, something to check out. It looks like that area is kind of going through a revitalization, and I think this is a great opportunity to find a good location. This is the site of the former Dash Express gas station. You may have noticed if you drive in that area that Dash station had been leveled out. So I think it's important to your business. Keep an eye on where your retail competitors are locating. Keep an eye on what's happening around you. Our final news item today is a state item, but it'll directly impact us here locally. You may recall in the election back in the 1st of November that the voters of Texas approved Proposition 1. This was for transportation projects throughout the state. Well, the state has already approved, since the November election, $437 million worth of road work. 131 of the 200 planned Proposition 1 projects are already on the fast track for approval and to get started. These projects as a whole will rehabilitate more than 800 miles of highway, build 500 miles of new highway, replace 114 bridges, or widen or rehabilitate them. A lot of work needs to be done on our infrastructure, and some of this will take place right here in the Montgomery County area. It's important you know where the roads are going. So a lot of money is being put out there to rehabilitate and build new roads. Make sure if your business is impacted at all by access, by highways and roads, that you keep an eye on what's being built, where and when. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the news segment. I want to remind you that you can like the show on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/The Weekly Business Hour, please like us and stay in touch with us. We're going to take a short break now, and when we come back, we're going to have Matt Umholtz come on and talk about technology and payroll.
Running a business is hard. Pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM
Taylorized PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Taylorized PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Taylorized PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at taylorizedpr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718. It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host. And as promised, in the studio today, we have Matt Umholtz, owner of PaySphere, an area-based payroll solution firm. Matt, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rick.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Matt. As I've said a couple times already in the show, the area of payroll processing, human resources has become so technologically involved. I mean, it's amazing to me. And you and I met some time ago, and I've been to your offices, and I've looked at your website, and I kind of looked into this topic. Technology has really taken hold of this part of the business world.
Absolutely, it really has. Technology in our space has changed completely the way we deliver services over the past 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Matt, before we get started, could you give our listeners a little bit of your background, your business background?
Absolutely. Well, first, just Rick, want to thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate your support for PaySphere. Also, I know the PaySphere team's out there listening, so definitely want to thank our team for enabling me to be here today, because without them, PaySphere wouldn't exist. So I'll back up a little bit. The genesis of PaySphere, and it's funny that we're having this conversation today, really started because of Black Friday. So when I look at my career and why I got into this industry, I was in retail. And sitting there in October and looking at Black Friday coming up and the hours that would be required and just the work-life balance, I decided to look at a career in outside sales, and I landed with a Fortune 1000 payroll outsourcing provider. and spent close to a decade with that provider, and over that period of time was able to train hundreds of sales reps and generate millions of dollars in business. And then 2008 and 2009, we hit a little bit of a financial crisis that most of us know about. And during that period of time, just very much noticed the vast disconnect between Wall Street and America's small businesses. And I wanted to branch out on my own and build a service that I could truly get behind that serviced America's the backbone of America, small businesses. And that's really why PaySphere exists today.
It's interesting. Your background, you've got a decade of experience in the industry, and then to take it out and do it on your own. And that's something we're going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit later about why Matt chose to be an entrepreneur, if you will, or go out and start his own business. Because I think those stories are important for all of us, particularly if you're listening and considering about going in your own business. Well, talk to us a little bit about PaySphere. We've talked about technology in a broad sense and the impact on it. What are some of the products and services that you offer?
Yeah, so at our core, we're really a payroll outsourcing company, and that may be an enigma to some folks out there listening. But so payroll outsourcing means that we actually calculate the gross to net payroll for employers. So we take the IRS tax tables that are embedded in our software, and we make the tax payments on their behalf, and we actually accept responsibility for the accuracy and the timeliness of those deposits. We also do direct deposit. We help companies streamline the automation of tracking paid time off. As you mentioned, this time of year is so prevalent. We provide employee self-service tools so employees can get their check stub, W-2, look at their paid time off balance, or access the ability to request time off directly from a mobile device anywhere in the world where they can get an internet connection.
That's something interesting to me about the technology, the fact that the employee, in my day, not to date myself, but if I had a question, I had to call the payroll department about my own payroll. I mean, I got a check and a stub, but if I had a question about how many days off do I have coming, checking the company against what I had been keeping. But today, we go on the internet and we can find all that information.
Absolutely. And companies are trying to become more efficient without increasing human resource staff. So technology has enabled them to do that, as opposed to, Joan or Nancy answering the phone and saying, here's your PTO balance, or saying, hey, let me print you another check stub and provide it to you. Now the office manager or the payroll person is just strictly saying, hey, go to the website, put in your username and password, and you can pull it up all on your own.
Yeah, and I like the idea personally, kind of like we're struggling with our healthcare, but we're making the employee, the user, if you will, responsible. They have to learn how to work the system.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's interesting. It's interesting. Well, let me ask you, payroll services, you mentioned, how do you improve? I wanted to ask you about how you improve the client's productivity. Obviously, that's a big thing because you probably can, if I'm on this service, I can reduce or cut back the amount of time that my payroll department has to spend answering the phone, if you will.
Absolutely. And there's really two ways we help the small business. And the number one way is by increasing the productivity of their staff by providing our expertise. We have folks that are trained on, the Affordable Care Act and all the things that are coming through in legislation. So as opposed to them going out to a website and trying to research and figure all this stuff out, we have staff that have already read through the IRS code, and they understand how to deploy systems, technology, and services around providing those solutions and helping companies become more efficient. The other area is really eliminating risk. So a small business who has somebody internally handling payroll through QuickBooks has a huge opportunity for theft within the office, financial theft, embezzlement, that kind of thing. We read about it, we hear about it every single day. So we provide that insulation from internal staff having access to everything that they really shouldn't have access to.
Well, you mentioned risk, and I have a client I'm working with right now that does their payroll internally through QuickBooks. And there's a risk that I saw pop up, and I'd experienced it personally years ago, but I figured with technology it kind of really been narrowed, but it's the calculations incorrect. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now whether you point a finger at QuickBooks, the employee, whatever, the bottom line is you get one of those letters in the mail that says, hey, you owe us X dollars, or you didn't file this properly. And as a business owner, everything stops. until I respond to that.
That's right.
Because it always comes in multiple copies, you know.
It does. We call that being on the IRS mailing list. Definitely not a mailing list you want to be on at Christmas time.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But there are risks like that. A good payroll service, I imagine you just lift that burden right off, or that potential risk right off of them.
Absolutely.
Well, you kind of touched on the human resource side. I mean, you provide a human resource department effectively. Is that a fair statement?
Correct. We've got a few ways. We provide web-based HR tools to our clients so they can do research and download employee handbooks and do what they need from a self-service HR standpoint. We offer phone-based HR consulting. So if you're a company that's looking to redo their paid time off policy, we have a phone-based team that can actually support you in walking through that entire process, editing that policy and deploying it to clients. And then we also offer on-site HR consulting. So if you don't have the staff and you just need somebody to come on site and help you not only customize a handbook but deploy a new solution to your entire employee base, we've got the expertise and the staffing to be able to provide that as well.
You know, that's one of the things that many, many small businesses, in my opinion, in my experience, really overlook. I mean, usually you've got to have 50 to 100 employees to afford an HR person, maybe over 100. I mean, it just depends what kind of industry you're in. And to get the kind of help, you know, you need HR with you every day. Not that you have to have an on-site person, but so many business clients I talk to, they just overlook that, and then they get stuck in a situation which could have easily been avoidable if they had had an HR person to check off with.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
You know, that's interesting that you're able to do that. The other thing, that service that intrigued me that you supplied, pretty simple, was time and attendance. I was in that industry at one of the businesses I was involved in when it was transitioning from the old punch clock to an automated, which basically did the calculations, had some other controls. Talk about time and attendance. What's really neat about the technology today? Yeah,
so the technology is morphed into being able to get it in every single employee's hand, regardless of where they're at, literally in the world. So the introduction of an app, we have our TimeWorks mobile app that enables the employee to punch in, punch out from an app, and it collects the GPS coordinate of the punch. So employers that were on a legacy timesheet, when somebody would go into the field and monitor a job and write down a time on a timesheet, now they're saying, well, use your phone and punch in, and it tags the GPS coordinates so they know where they're at when they punch. So it eliminates time theft. Also, a big thing where technology has really come a long way in the past 10 years are biometric time clocks. And what this means is that an employee puts their thumb on a clock, it verifies who they are based on the print, and punches them in and punches them out. And that can generate a significant amount of additional capital to the company by reducing wages due to time theft. You know, people punching each other in and out.
That's right.
And
I've
buddy
had that
punching.
experience
Yep.
along the way. Yeah, buddy punching. Forgotten that term.
Punching.
Bringing back some memories, Matt. I appreciate
Sure.
that. Where do you see the future as far as the technology in payroll services? Where's it all going?
Yeah, really two places. So consolidating payroll, HR, timekeeping, benefits administration into one simplified user interface and easy to get to portal. And the other thing we are just on the cusp of, and in Q1 we're going to be releasing our first analytics engine. So reporting, if you've done reporting from payroll systems in the past, you dump a bunch of data into Excel, and you have to think through and analyze and figure things out. Well, our newest analytics dashboard does the thinking for you. So if you want to look at overtime in one location, you can literally click a button, see it graphically, and be able to diagnose and analyze data very quickly through graphical images as opposed to trying to figure it out through Excel.
Yeah, playing through the numbers, and
That's
that is
right.
a challenge. That is really, really interesting. Well, we've got about 30 seconds left in this segment. My question to you in 30 seconds, why as an employer, if I was an employer, should I use PaySphere?
Absolutely. That's a great question, and we get asked that all the time. So the number one reason to use PaySphere is because of our service and our support model and the way we deploy our technology. We want to be the company that understands and satisfies the service support needs of America's top small businesses, and that we truly believe every single day that that's what we're doing.
Well, you know, you've sold me based on what I've looked at in my experience in payroll over the years in businesses. I encourage everybody that's listening today, if you haven't looked at your payroll services recently, it's a good time to do it. Well, that brings us to the end of our second segment today, and I encourage you, if you don't already know, put down our phone number, 936-647-5800. 3776. Call in, talk to us, tell us what's on your mind. If you'll stay with us, we're going to come back, and I've asked Matt to hold over and talk a little bit about why he really started why he started his own business and some of the challenges he faced when he did. We'll be right back with you.
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
Running a business is hard. Pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM
Tailorized PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Tailorized PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Tailorized PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at tailorizedpr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718. It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox Advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. And we've been visiting with Matt Umholtz here, the owner of PaySphere, about being in the payroll and HR business and the technology, the impact of technology on that business. I asked Matt to stick around a little bit into this segment and talk to us a little bit about entrepreneurship. And he touched on, Matt, you touched on a little bit in your introduction, why you decided to start your own business. And I think that's an important decision, obviously. You're one of those people from corporate America. I call them escapees. I like that because people who escape. A lot of people out there. Not all of them are successful, though, whether they come from a corporate background or come from a job. But basically, you change. You had a job, now you own a business. Huge, huge change. Sure. Why did you do it?
You know, that's a great question. And the original reason why I decided to build PaySphere was, again, the vast disconnect between the Fortune 1000 company I was at and really what the small business was needing, and just found a gap where we could provide something unique and different to the market, and there was a natural demand for it. Folks we were working with at the time were asking for something different and getting calls and saying that the service that my prior company was providing wasn't what they were looking for. So that was the number one reason. Outside of that, I just get a great joy in building something. So being able to build a team and build a company that people can get behind has been a really fun venture. It obviously comes with its unique challenges every single day, but it's been fun to rally around a cause and build a company that truly has purpose in a place in the market and clients that are raving fans.
Well, now that you've been in business for a while, had a lot of experiences. In fact, you're almost an old hand based on how long you've been at it. What are the keys to success when you start your own business?
Yeah, so if I went back in time at startup, I would say the number one key that we had is we had a good operation structure in place, so we could support the clients as we brought them in. We invested heavily in technology. We didn't go cheap at startup and try to do it from the standpoint of just making it through the day. We really went at it with a little bit of capital, and then sales. So the most important thing to any business is growing revenue. And if I had to go do it over again, I'd probably do it faster on the front end, as far as growing sales more quickly in the early first couple years than we did today. So it's absolutely key. Cash flow early on is crucial. So continuing to build the sales funnel and recurring billing from clients is critical in a startup.
Well, let me go back to a point you made. You said if you had to do it over, you would increase or grow your sales faster. Mm-hmm. Sounds like you had a plan. Is that a fair statement?
A very, detailed plan.
So you met the plan, which is great.
Sure.
And so you were trying to, I guess, you're at the throttle, if you will, controlling what's coming in, making sure you're producing it.
That's right.
Kind of the scenario.
That's right.
But you say you would grow sales faster. How would you grow sales faster? Hire more salespeople, or what would you do different?
Yeah, it's a great question. I probably would hire a salesperson. Day one, hire an additional salesperson. Also, we invested in things later that I would have invested in earlier, which would doing some website SEO and some blog type stuff, doing some social media, but more importantly, building an email marketing campaign, which now we have a database of over 11,000 contacts to get emails about our services, about things that are relevant related to payroll and HR. And they're getting pinged with those, about 4 times a month. So if we would have done that sooner, it would have enabled us a little bit more efficiency on the sales side of things.
And I assume to build that database, those are people you've talked to at least once, I assume.
Absolutely.
So you had 11,000 contacts you've made, which is phenomenal.
Correct. Yeah.
And I guess more sales effort would have increased that number faster. Is that what you're saying?
So invest early in a business card scanner. So as you come in from networking groups or anything that you do outside and shake hands, you have a stack of business cards, which for most folks, they go in a shoebox. For us, they go through our business card scanner and directly into our database.
11,000 contacts in an email list. I know a lot of businesses that would be envious of you having that kind of database to work for.
Sure.
Or work with, excuse me. Well, in building your business, thinking back, what has been your toughest challenge?
It's as I mentioned, I would put more money and more people into sales early, but the biggest challenge was truly keeping up with demand and keeping the operations going and making sure that we found every crack in the floor before a client of ours found the crack in the floor. So just making sure that everything from an operational standpoint was working in the proper way, and we didn't create any mistakes that were preventable.
You mentioned, which I applaud you. I talk on the show. Probably some of the listeners get tired, but how important a plan is. And I don't set any parameters. It could be a one-page plan. It could be a multi-page.
Sure.
It could be a business plan for a bank, which are fairly extensive.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the planning that you did before you opened your doors.
Absolutely. Well, we had to do RFPs for software systems and find the correct software. We had to recruit the right talent. We had to find office space and do all of those things. And by doing all that, you get projections of what cost is going to be. And you project out what your monthly expenses are going to be, and then you start slapping on top of that what kind of revenue you think you can generate within the given month. And you stage out a cash flow analysis of what kind of capital it's going to take to get that baby up and running and get the sales running. So, at this point, we staged out to about 2020 in regards to our planning, and it's all based on org chart and operation staff and at what point we bring this person in versus that person, what roles we need to fill. And it's not a detailed plan of what to do every day, but it's kind of a guiding star of where we want to be. And hopefully we exceed those projections.
Last question. How often do you refer to that plan? Monthly, weekly, quarterly, annually?
Mentally, weekly, sometimes daily. But I review the plan versus a P&L and balance sheet once a month. So, being able to, a lot of business owners I talk to can't spell P&L, and that's okay. But I would say that, understanding a profit and loss statement and understanding where expenses are trending and looking at trends of expenses and also revenue over quarters or even over months is hugely beneficial to understanding where the business of the direction of your business needs to go.
You made a lot of good points, Matt, and I really appreciate you sharing that little bit of your business and how you made a decision to jump off on your own and the kind of things you did. It sounds like you were well prepared, and I think that speaks volumes towards the success you've experienced. If our listeners would want to get in touch with you and learn more about what services PaySphere offers, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so the best way, you can actually reach us by phone at our local office at 281-377-8144. And you can also go to our website. So it's www.paysphere, that's P-A-Y-S-P-H-E-R-E, payroll, P-A-Y-R-O-L-L.com.
Well, Matt, again, thank you for joining the program. I'm going to shift gears here a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, and kind of pick up on that entrepreneurship theme that Matt and I were just talking about. Everyone talks about entrepreneurship. Again, we talk thousands of articles, thousands of books, lots of speakers, lots written about it, even arguments about what an entrepreneur is, which I find all kind of laughable. But the bottom line is somebody has an idea and they start a business, and all the emotion, and Matt, I think, indirectly touched on some of that. But, there's some myths out there that you need to be aware of if you're considering starting a business on your own. Some of the things you need to be aware of, I believe, to properly get an idea of what your expectations are, because many times our expectations perhaps are overblown. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be king of the world. I'm going to be in charge of my own business. I'm going to cut the cord. I'm not going to let my employer, my boss, my manager tell me what to do anymore. I understand those emotions. I've been there and done it. But let me share with you, there was a great article on Fox News that was printed back a couple of weeks ago in entrepreneur.com that I picked up on, and it had several of the myths that I've experienced, and I want to share those with you today real quick. Entrepreneurship is the only way to get rich. There are a lot of people that believe that in this country. The only way to get rich is to own your own business. But the bottom half, and this is a survey that was done, half of America's millionaires are not self-employed. These are people that work for companies such as Microsoft, Intel, Google, Apple, Facebook. They work for other entrepreneurs, but they were early on. They were given stock options. They were given benefits, opportunity. And there's lots and lots and lots, and by that I mean thousands of people that fit into that category. So if your goal in life, or one of your goals, is to get rich, whatever that means to you, you don't necessarily have to start your own business. You just need to go to work for a successful business. And I would hope that everyone had a chance to do that anyway. The second thing is follow your passion or cause, not the money. So many times, and I've had folks in the studio on this show that have talked about, well, I'm so passionate about what I do, and that's really what makes me successful. I'm not knocking that at all. I think you've got to be passionate to get through the difficult times, if nothing else. But the bottom line is passion don't pay the bills. So there's only so far that passion's going to take. You better have a plan, like Matt touched on. You got to have a plan. You got to know where you're going, what your expectations are. And unfortunately, sometimes your plan's going to say, hey, you're not making it. You're not meeting your goals. This may not be the right place, the right business, the right time, whatever. And you need to realize that sometimes you got to change your course. But passion alone won't get you there. And another thing that I thought was interesting is that entrepreneurship is more fulfilling and will make you happy. Well, the bottom line is happiness is not dictated by entrepreneurship. Fulfillment has absolutely nothing to do with business ownership. The question of what makes a person happy is really pretty subjective. And I think we all know that. But the allure of owning my own business, and as I said earlier, I'm going to cut the cord, I'm going to get away from my boss, I'm going to get away from the 9 to 5, whatever it is that's motivating you. You may be down or it's negative. Maybe you just need to change jobs. But the idea that you're going to open a business and you're going to have instant happiness, let me tell you, it just doesn't happen that way. So don't count on the fact that owning your own business is going to make you happy. Not saying it can't. But that alone of owning your own business is not going to make you happy. And I think a lot of people use that in the passion argument to justify starting their own business. There's a lot more to it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you listening to us. Hope you'll stick around for the final hour where I'm going to talk about how to keep a family business alive for generations. So please stay with us. This is Rick Schissler, and we'll be right back with you.
Running a business is hard. Pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County is a 501c3 all-volunteer-based rescue and adoption organization with a no-kill policy for healthy and adoptable animals. Our goals are fourfold: to rescue and rehabilitate homeless animals, to provide a safe haven for the animals until a suitable adoption or foster care home is found or until they are reunited with their owner, to educate the public about the great need to reduce pet population, which includes the importance of having their pets spayed and neutered, and to further the cause for humane and responsible pet ownership, and to provide a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for people who are unable to afford to spay or neuter their pets otherwise. SPCA PetSnap of Montgomery County encourages you to think adoption first. You can contact us at www.spcaofmc.com.
Tailorized PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Tailorized PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Tailorized PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at tailorizedpr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718. It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
Hello, Montgomery County. I'm Rachel Baldwin with Special Olympics Texas, Area 6. Are you a fan of courage? Are you a fan of determination? Are you a fan of acceptance, grace, and skill? Then you're already a fan of Special Olympics. Make it official. Volunteer, coach, and/or compete and be a fan of dignity and acceptance. The dedication of our Special Olympics Texas volunteers provides mainstreaming experiences for athletes with intellectual disabilities. You will touch the heart of another person, and it will move you in a meaningful way that lifts the spirit. Please visit the Heart of East Texas Area 6 webpage at www.sotx.org. Also, like us on Facebook to be a fan and be part of Special Olympics Texas.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host. We're in the final segment of today's show, and I want to talk a little bit about exit strategies, something we touch on from time to time. And as we discussed earlier in the show, exit strategy, as a Silver Fox, one of my beliefs is that an exit strategy should be part of what you do as you plan your business. In other words, when you start your business, one of the important things to touch is what is my strategy going to be to leave this business, how I'm going to leave it, who I'm going to leave it to, how much money I'm looking to get for it. Analyze those and kind of set some basic, simple goals. Because reality is, as we build a business over a period of time, we should build towards our exit, a planned exit too, because we will maximize and be way better off if we do so. Well, one of the things that we can do with the business, obviously, is we can pass it on to the family. We can keep the business in the family. This is a challenging thing to do. I grew up in a family business. We made it to the fourth generation. Statistics say it's very, very difficult, at least in this country, to maintain a business and keep it in the family. And one of the things that I came across recently, it was in the Wall Street Journal. It was an updated article on November 20th of this year, article by Peter Jaskowitz and James G. Combs, where they talked about keeping family businesses alive for generations. And they offered 5 steps to do that. Now, these businesses were in Europe, where obviously there's a lot more history, if you will, a lot more business has been going on a lot longer. But I think there's some things to be learned from our cousins, if you will, across the sea, if in fact your goal is to keep your business alive and well within the family, hopefully for generations to come, because otherwise your business, if you try to go the family right and it doesn't, the family direction with the family in the business and it doesn't work out, it can be a very difficult, painful experience. I think one of the things that we lose sight of is when we start a business with lots of passion, we're hungry or we're obsessed, and these kind of wear off over the years if you spend a period of time in a business. So you've got to have more than that. And one of 3 things really happens to businesses, in my experience, and the writers touched on this, is future generations will, 1, live off the wealth of the business that was accumulated during previous generations. 2, they'll pour more and more money in a business that's failing and not realize it, but they want to keep it alive. Or they'll treat the business as a lifestyle choice rather than a way to bring in money. In other words, they won't focus on growing and keeping the business running. All of these ultimately will lead to the demise of the business, I submit. So there are several things that they mentioned in this article that I think if you look at it and you're intending to keep your business within the family, I encourage you to think about these. The first is pass along the family history. Pass along the history of your family. If you're the one who started the business, you'll have history. But you'll also have history of your father, your grandfather, maybe further back, of their experiences in business. Share that with your children if those are the ones that you want to pass the business along to. Give meaning to today's entrepreneurial actions and put current risk and problems in a broader context. In other words, as part of that history. Talk about starting the business, what it entailed, what kinds of things happen. So the reality being is that your kids come into the business 10, 20 years after it started. They have no knowledge of this unless you pass it on to them. Second thing is get your youngsters started early. Get them involved in the business, even at a young age. I started working on a regular basis when I was 8 years old, and I think this helped me develop a real understanding and a desire to be involved in a family business. Develop some kind of emotional attachment to the business. In other words, you get the kids interested. Also, another common trait of generational businesses is they insist on practical education, secondary education. Entrepreneurial parents endorse their kids to attend the best colleges in the world, encourage studying topics that are relevant to the business and outside the business, study business law. Parents did all this in an effort to stimulate an interest on behalf of their own kids to be involved in the business for years to come. This is a way of transferring your entrepreneurial passion to your children. One of the businesses that was mentioned in the article, and I have to pay heed to this, was a business that was started in the 10th century. If you can imagine, it has passed through generation after generation. And the fourth thing is learn from the younger generation yourself. When young people come into the business and start working the business, even if it's a part-time basis after school when they're in high school and college, listen to some of their ideas. Listen to what they see. They offer a lot, or should have a lot to teach you. Many times we as older, more established business people, tend to shut out what the younger generation is saying. It's amazing how particularly the young people can develop new product lines, new markets, new technologies. They come armed with these if they've been educated properly and been exposed to the business. And fifth, this is one that is difficult, I suspect, for most people, and that is have one owner. If you have multi-generational or if you have multiple children, and I'm not going to exclude in-laws here because in-laws need to be brought into the business too as our children marry, but there should be only one owner. One person needs to actually own the business. You've got to be able to do it. Doesn't mean you can't provide for the others. Doesn't mean they can't work in the business, but there needs to be one decision maker. This is a very, very difficult choice. I encourage you to look at all these things, and I encourage you, if you have the opportunity and desire to bring your children into the business, that you take some time and think through some of these basic issues. It'll make all the difference in the world. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this week's show. I encourage you to visit our website at irlonestar.com to stay up on everything that's happening in Montgomery County. And as we close the show today, I want to give a big Lone Star thanks to our sponsors, Patricia Cooper Insurance Company, Schooley Mitchell and Jerry Polio, Margie Taylor with Taylorized PR, and the Silver Fox Advisors. Also to Matt Umholtz for sharing his experience and expertise. Stay engaged this week and keep your focus on what counts in your business. Next week, our special studio guest will be Carlos Sanchez, Leaders Without Borders. Thank you for joining us. And until next week, remember to stay in touch with what's happening in Montgomery County here on Lone Star Internet Radio. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Weekly Business Hour, brought to you by the Silver Fox Advisors, the #1 mentoring and business advising group in the greater Houston area. If you have a question or a comment, please contact me on my Facebook page or by email, rick@irlonestar.com.